Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. So, it's my birthday today. I'm 53 years old, and I've had a great day because I've basically spent messing around with this guitar, which came early, which was a nice relief because I would have spent the whole day like freaking out about it, waiting for the UPS truck to pull up. Our house is in a weird spot, and every time there's something major coming, like one time this body was being shipped, and they sent it to another house, and then they said they didn't, and they lost it for a second, and it's like completely freaking. And luckily none of that happened. But I wanted to fill you in, all of those who are interested in these Breadwinners and might potentially want to get one and know what's going to happen when you get one. It's been nothing but positives. It's just been amazing, actually, and I'm just so into these now. I'm really, just in love with it. And the main thing that happened is I took the guitar home, and I had read a few things about these, and on forums, YouTube videos, and I'd seen a really negative YouTube video about the way it sounded. And then I noticed in the comment section as the years went by, people would say, I actually like the way that out of phase sounded, or I like that clean aspect, or whatever. And the guy who made the video started saying, yeah, you know what, I rediscovered this guitar and now I like the way it sounds. So it's just different. If you want it to sound like a Les Paul right out of the box, you might be disappointed. Back in the day, now you would want it because of the rarity and all that. But I was just really interested to see what you could do with these, and I'm really excited about the next video I'm going to make. We're going to go through, I've got the Les Paul here, I've got the Strat, and I found this crazy PDF that I got from the Ovation forum that shows you all the ways to set the tone settings and everything to get the most out of the instrument, and to sort of camouflage it as like a Telecaster, Stratocaster, Les Paul, or an Ovation acoustic. Really cool. So I'll do that in the next video. But I just wanted to give a quick, those that are interested in the restoration aspect, there wasn't much to restore because the guitar is in excellent condition for its age and for the situation. The first thing I did was when I got it home, I wanted to get it cleaned up, because it just looked like it had been sitting around for a while collecting dust. Not really, but just hadn't been played, hadn't been out, so it just was kind of, the elements start to get to it, even though it obviously had been in a case for many years. And maybe it had been put up, kind of dirty. So I wanted to just kind of clean it up. There was some like dust bunnies underneath the bridge and stuff like that. And it just looked, like it hadn't been cleaned. So I wanted to do that. And I wanted to take the pickguard off and show everyone these pickups. And I wanted to show myself the pickups and the pickguard and everything that was going on inside. But here's what happened. First of all, I took the strings off. I wanted to get the strings off. The strings were really old and dead, and I did that first little sound demo the night that I realized it was working. I'm like a sweat hog in here. It's like so hot outside. This is like the long hot summer. This August has been super hot down south. I mean, if you want to experience like the ultimate humidity, southern heat, it's happening right now. So I got the strings off the guitar, and I kind of, began to remove the pickguard. And when I got all the screws off, I started kind of like, just picking up on it like carefully, because sometimes electronics and wires are down in the routes and they'll get stuck on the guitar and things will happen. You have to kind of and so I felt the first bit of resistance as I picked it up, and it wasn't going to give, like easily. It's also kind of up under this neck, this beautiful neck with this amazing figuring, thing right here. Well, the pickguard's kind of up under there, and so it kind of caught there, and it was like, I'm just like, you know what? After about a minute of fidgeting with it, and my wife looking over disapprovingly, I decided, you know what? I'm going to stop right here and not do this. There's no point. I would like to show everyone what it's like, and I would like to learn more, and I will eventually. But I'm going to get a proper technician to help me with it, because I don't want to, in my rush and haste, make a mistake with this thing and screw it all up, because right now it's working and playing. And I remember another thing that electronics people always tell me, because I like to tweak: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It ain't broke. You'll see in a second. It sounds awesome. It's so quiet. I got a lot to say, but it works. So I didn't want to screw it up. And Toby's going to be happy about this because he's been counseling me on calming down and taking my time and not getting all upset and doing rash things. Like as soon as you feel that moment of frustration, you stop for the day or stop for a few hours until you can get your head together. So once I felt that resistance, I was like, nope. And I could see the pots, both pots here, and some of the electronics and the switches. So I just got a little deox and just deox it. And I got, here, little squirt here, here. And it did take away any noise out of the pots. There's no crackling when you turn them. And there was just a little bit on the volume, not the tone, but on the volume. That's gone. And everything's quiet, and I know that deoxit got in there and cleaned up a few things. I was actually sweating bullets because I was afraid that the deoxit would get on one of the circuit boards, for the pickups. And I was like, man, that would be enough to screw it up, I bet. But everything worked. I'm still worried when I turn it on that it's not going to work. Who knows? It might not work right now, but I think it'll work. So I'm proud of myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back here that I didn't try to get this off. And I didn't screw things up. So once I decided to do that, and I tested it again with my got a Boss Micro BR that I use because I like the way the Boss effects sound on it. They sound pretty natural, like close to like a Fender amp, much better than the Zoom has as far as like the sound of it in your ears. When you're recording, it's still garbage, but it's fun to play with at home. So I was testing stuff there, and it was still sounding excellent. So I was like, why even do that? You could break, I could crack the Pickguard. This is an original, Pickguard prototype with no hole in it for a jack. It's like a one of a kind. So no, don't do that. And I just put it all down, put those screws back in, all good. I'd already done the little deoxit thing and tested and didn't mess anything up. So now I'm doing my olive oil cleaning, and you might say, olive oil, why are you doing that? That's stupid. But I've gotten into olive oil due to Stumac. I didn't make this up. I saw a Stumac video, and when I was doing my shellac finish, Dan uses olive oil to keep from slipping, because shellac will stick, and as you're midway through ragging it on, you'll get sticky. So if you have olive oil on there, if the rag's got some on it, you just glide right through and don't have a problem. And I noticed that olive oil cleaned my Les Paul better than anything ever. This thing got so clean that you can see all the sparkle in the paint, the subtle kind of like sparkle that's in this white paint. It's beautiful. And for a while there, this had like I probably put some wrong stuff on it, some pump wax or something, and it just had like a hazy residue on it. And I hit it with olive oil, and it just like back to brand new. Perfect. And no weirdness, you don't have to worry about it messing up your finish or anything like that. And so I used olive oil on this, and coincidentally, I had read that guys recommended restoring the bridge here, because this bridge has this same kind of lyracord finish to it, but it may not be lyracord, I don't know what it is, but it has a textured finish. And the way to get that back to A+ is the olive oil. He was recommending Teflon spray. But I'm into this olive oil thing, so I was using that, and I just did it, and it does the same thing as the Teflon spray. It was kind of like a matte gray, and now it looks like factory again, because I've looked at the pictures of them brand new, and it just has that nice kind of shiny black, finish back on it. The other thing is that I was told, okay, so some of the things I heard is that the guitar sounded like garbage. That's false, and I'll prove it. I think most people would agree that it puts out a good sound and that it gives you a varied tone. It doesn't sound like garbage. It doesn't sound like a Les Paul exactly, but we're going to see about that in the next video, so just hang tight. So we know that the guitar does sound good, so I can dispel that myth. The second myth was that it would be difficult to string. And I was nervous about this because the guitar came with what I think are 10s. I thought they were 9s, but now that I've played 11s on here, I realized that this guitar, unlike a Fender, because of the shorter scale like a Gibson, it has a slinkier feel. So I think it was 10s, but they were like completely gone. So I had read that it was difficult to string this thing, and difficult to use higher gauges, even worse. So I started thinking, oh man, I bet I'm going to have trouble getting my favorite 11 252s in. So because of what I'd read on a forum, I was a little, just a little concerned. So anyway, I get the 11s and go to put them on, And this is like as easy as any guitar I've ever had. There's nothing hard about it or unusual. I guess because there's a moment, especially if you had your saddle way back, there'd be a moment where maybe it'd be hard to get it out, or like maybe it would get stuck down there. All kinds of things happen with this stuff, but I wouldn't say that there's anything about this that's any more difficult than, say, stringing a Strat or a Les Paul, or like even a, through the body like a Telecaster, Flying V. It really is, it's not a thing. And what was the other thing? Oh, I heard that the nylon saddles would be garbage. It sounds terrible. And I think this might be a nylon nut. I thought it was bone. But the more I look at it, it almost looks like it's aged like in the same way that the nylon has, which would be really interesting. Like the philosophy of putting a nylon nut in a nylon saddle bridge in. It's kind of like acoustic guitar type stuff. Mixed into it, because they do have that acoustic guitar lineage, and that's all they produce mainly. Nowadays, I think it's pretty much all they produce. They may put out a few electrics for special editions, but they're now just known as an acoustic guitar company. So you don't have any trouble stringing the guitar. At least I didn't. The sound of these pickups is, everything is subjective. You may not like the sound of them, but I don't think you can just out of the box say that it was a big fail and it didn't work. I've always been of the belief that passive electronics were better in guitars. And there's no way to get this Fender Strat tone any other way except like what Lawler and other boutique winders do, where they go back to vintage spec and all that kind of thing. That's the only way to get that. But there are other ways to do things with guitar that are also interesting. So I'm really opening my mind to some of the innovations that these guys were trying to do. I mean, for starters, the feel and the look of the guitar is extremely innovative. And much like a Steinberger, it's extremely comfortable to play and just unbelievably well balanced. The neck is definitely on par with a Gibson. I mean, no doubt. I mean, it's like the same ballpark, same kind of feel, same quality level, same familiarity level. This one's a tiny bit thinner than this one. This has a 60s neck, not one of those skinny 60s necks, but just a standard, one notch down from the 50s feel. And that's about what this is too. This has a little bit more thickening as you go down, whereas this one has just like, it feels the same like all the way across. The other thing is that I was going to restore this little bit here by using some epoxy and black ebony. And Toby Russell told me how to do that and sent me a video and everything. And I will probably do it. And I started doing it, and I went to put it on and everything, and it was just, it was a sticky mess everywhere. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't think I care. Like if I'm looking at it, I can't even see it. I don't feel it. Like every once in a while, I'll kind of feel it, but it doesn't annoy me in any way like I thought it was going to. And so I don't think I care, at least for now. I basically don't want to risk doing anything stupid, trying to fix some little glitch and like make a new problem, like pouring epoxy all down my ebony fretboard or something. That's the kind of dumb stuff I'll do. I also used olive oil on the fretboard and got that really clean. And olive oil has this like kind of slight detergent aspect to it, but it's super safe. Like I used it on my Pickguard, I used it on the pickup covers, everything. It works great. It even works great on metal. It has like a slight kind of, like I said, detergent feel. Not as much as coconut oil. That one will take stuff off like Goo Gone. Olive oil is safe, and it doesn't have any kind of weird smell when you're done. It's gone. And this thing took the olive oil beautifully. I was like kind of concerned, like what would be the best thing to put on here with this funky finish, but that worked great. So A+ all around on this thing. It's just super exciting. And so I guess the only last thing I have to do is I already found some tuners. They didn't come from a Breadwinner, but they're the Schallers that have the two mounts on them that might fit this. And they look, they're Ovation tuners, so they look more proper. If they don't fit, it's no big deal. I only paid 19 bucks for them. If they don't fit, no big thing. But if they do, I'll put it on at the next string change so that at least all these holes are covered up. It'll be in the right holes instead of having like these new holes. And then the new holes I'll just fill with some like the epoxy thing. So, super exciting, super awesome. And the other thing I noticed is that I thought I did not have a logo on here, because it's an early prototype. But there is like a stamp on here. You can see it. It's just really faint. And, there's no logo back here. On the plate, there's the little Ovation logo. It's like a tiny guitar sketch. It's not the man holding the thing, and you don't get this textured thing. I actually think all the Prototype stuff looks way cooler than what they ended up running with. Just more basic, you know, and like, I don't know, a really nice one looks great with all that stuff, but I'm really pleased to have this stuff, and this is just as rare as it gets. Trying to get like replacement parts like this, you have to look into it, and you know, it's probably gone as soon as the Ovation people find it. So the myths I want to dispel is that this pickups and electronics thing is worthless. I'm going to prove it in my next video. That it's somehow hard to string. And on that same forum, somebody made a criticism that there was a resonance issue, and that because of this bridge construction, that it was scooping out the body, kind of like what you do when you do a Floyd Rose, that you're losing some contact somehow. And you know, hey, I understand. Those are good theories, and I think about that kind of stuff all the time, because I always try to wonder, what is it about this guitar that's getting choked out, you know? But this one, that is not the case. My big trip is I really like alive, like vibrating, resonant guitars, you know, that kind of feel like acoustic guitars, even when they're electric. It's just a sign to me. I want a guitar that will stay in tune and that will resonate and vibrate. It just makes me feel like we're doing something. And all of my guitars vibrate kind of like at the same amount. I was kind of surprised at how much this baby does. It might have been the one that got me onto that the most. Just felt so good playing. It was like shaking me right here, you know, like you have a Les Paul right here and it just sort of vibrates. And this thing just vibrates like crazy. This thing is so alive. And my Flying V I built is too. I used hide glue, and it's a, you know, a set neck, and it vibrates. This one vibrates too. So there's nothing about this that's causing any problems. This thing is alive. I mean, it is just alive. And one of my beliefs was that these thick finishes like this would choke out the guitar, and they might a little bit. But you get a lot of tone from your neck, and that does not have Lyracord on it. It's got a real thin nitro finish on it. And this thing projects and vibrates beautifully. It's an unheralded masterpiece, it really is. You'll see it on the next video when I show you what it can do electronics-wise. But I think it snapped into focus beautifully, and it's starting to just look, you know, gorgeous. And I love the look of it. I love the way... I love it. I've just been staring at it constantly. All right, next time.